In the movie Titanic, which was a romantic drama, we saw how Jack Dawson, who was an ordinary, penniless, dressed in rags painter, he won a ticket to the Titanic and was traveling with passengers who were from first class. Though he belonged to the third class, he had no finesse or class like the first class passengers. He was absolutely at ease and comfort with himself. He became friends with a beautiful girl of 17 years of age called Rose. Rose belonged to an aristocratic first class family who was a 17-year-old woman and who was to be engaged to Carl. Carl was a millionaire. He was the owner of a steel fortune. However, Jack and Rose fell intensely in love with each other. The story is about how Jack and Rose were completely taken aback by the devil of envy, jealousy, and highly selfish class of people who tried to play havoc with their lives. Carl, that is Rose's fiancé, tried to persecute Jack because he was intensely jealous, as he was very snobbish also. So he tried to persecute Jack by threatening him or putting false allegations against him and trying to put him behind bars or completely executing him out of the first class. He tried various ways and means to completely get away with Jack. However, Jack was least affected, whether he was being called as a cheat or whether he was threatened or persecution. Whatever he did, it was with artless honesty, love, and absolute genuine person. He appeared to be a very genuine person who kept saying that now is the moment, is the final moment, and that is how he lived his life. All scheming and plotting of Carl and Rose's mother or Carl's bodyguard proved to be ineffective in the face of Jack. He was able to completely withstand and endure all manner of hardships and difficulties. Not only that, but when Titanic was sinking and all passengers were behaving out of their own fear, anger or animosity, were almost killing each other. But Jack was a man of great honor and integrity. He was not, behaving like them. In fact, he was reaching all out to protect Rose and at the same time even salvage children or passengers who were stuck in the gushing waters. He made sure that the passengers were allowed to go safely, children and especially women, into the lifeboats and bail out. He was the one who was protecting Rose completely. In the end, Titanic breaks into two halves. Both Jack and Rose are thrown into the air and into the gushing water. They remain in the ocean for a very long time until Jack finds a plank of wood which was enough just for one person to sit. So he encourages Rose to sit on the wooden plank and he holds the plank from beneath. He encourages and inspires Rose to go on living till old age. He continues to withstand the freezing cold and enduring all the difficulty of really standing still all night. In the end, he freezes to death and passes away. Can you imagine that someone like Jack, a character like Jack, getting disheartened or feeling low or helpless over small trivial things in life? He was a man of true honesty, integrity, toughness and endurance. So much so that he had the ability and the smartness to challenge the superficial lifestyle and vanity and the status quo of the rich and the famous class. So he was so heroic in his behavior that he could fight with grit and determination and could even withstand the freezing temperature of cold water and save the love of his life. The qualities exhibited by Jack, his character, that is of artless honesty, integrity, true love, depth of character, independence, ability to challenge the status quo, or the ability to discern good and evil, is extremely rare. It is difficult to find these qualities in our youth, or for that matter in our children of today. Who is responsible? Our educational system, parents, or our society as a whole? Dr. Daisaku Ikeda, the author of the book Glass Children, has said that, I quote, "In these days, children are seen to be made of glass. They are so fragile and weak that you expect them to break any moment. Just a minor failure or setback kind of drives them to neurosis or kind of, drives them towards committing suicide." Unquote. He says that it is our educational system which is stereotyped and is churning out people who are just intellectually well settled but essentially emotionally very weak. Dr. Daisaku Ikeda believes that though children or adults are turning out to be good professionals or intellectuals, but essentially they are emotionally very weak and spiritually empty. Are you a parent who's constantly anxious and completely at a loss, not knowing how your child would cope up with his studies because he is constantly in front of the Cartoon Network or television or WhatsApping or on the internet and is not interested in studies? On the contrary, he threatens you that he would run away from home or commit suicide if you force him to study and appear for exam. Are you a parent who is so possessive or so anxious and overprotective about your child that you want to shield him away from the morning rays of the sun or evening cold night? You are so protective and you consider your child to be an apple of your eye such that you overprotect him and buy him all possible gifts, valuables, parties and cars and credit cards you give him and expect him to go and do shopping to his whims and fancy. Are you so possessive that you go and fight with the teachers and the principal and complain to the coach that your child is being not given treatment or not given the center stage, such that you even fight with the teachers when your child gets 5 marks less than his classmates? Or perhaps you are ready to throw away donations to vie for prestigious schools and colleges so that your child can get into lucrative profession, become a winner in life, no matter what means he applies, whether it is cheating, donations or whatnot. But you want your child to stand first and completely, be in that status and that class of society, the elite class of society. Or perhaps you are a teacher, a parent, or an educational minister or an inspector who feels that, I understand that the educational system is so boring, mechanical, stereotype, and producing children who are pressured with examination and kind of completely mechanical and erratic. But what can I do? I am just one small little piece in this whole system, in this whole canvas of things which are going wrong. After all, I am just one small little teacher or a small little person. What can I do? I am just going with the flow. Then I'm sorry to say, my friends, that we as parents, as educational system and the entire nation where we are heading towards are churning out children who are made of glass and who are likely to break with the slightest setback. And when such tragedy or failure happens, we run helter-skelter blaming each other. The parents blame the educational system and the educational system blames the children, doctors and psychologists. So it becomes a vicious cycle of blame game. Today we have with us Suvarna Shetty, who is a founder and an educationist of Icon International School as well as Sarah Icon International brand of schools. Suvarna Shetty.
Hi Varsha. Hello, very good evening. It's my pleasure to be here with you today. with Sarah.
So Suvarna madam, could you please tell us that why is it that nowadays, or for that matter, children are as though pieces of glass. They are so fragile, so weak, or so emotionally unsettled that they are ready to break with minor incidences or setback or failure in life. What is the kind of home education, or as parents we can kind of train our children so that they are prepared to face the difficulties of life and can smoothly swim through in the river of life.
What shall I just say about this? Like for children, the home is the first education. Home education is very, very important. Okay, mother is the first teacher. Okay, whoever it may be, however it may be, the mother is always, she teaches the child. The overall personality development happens at home, and the overall personality development happens only at home. For the first time, that will be the strong foundation what the mother or the home is going to give you. So mother has to eradicate a fear, and he has to make the child to become very, very independent. So I have seen like some mothers are very, very overprotective. Nowadays the mothers are very overprotective and possessive, and they put lots of burden, pressure on the child, and they are restricting a lot. They are restricting a lot. For example, I will tell you, there's some mothers I have found, they never give a knives and scissors to their children. They are out of fear, because what is wrong in that? So they have to come out. What is the problem with that, and how to face the life challenges? If you don't allow them to face any problems or difficulties in life, then how can they face the challenges of the world? Life is so competitive. They have to come out with all these things. And even I have seen you like the children when they are playing. So if they fall down, the mother, as soon as the child falls, immediately she goes and hugs and pacifies. Rather than that, you have to build up, out of fear, the child has to come up with the fear, and then you have to make the child to stand up and then bring out all these fears, and then should be cautious in the next time that what mistakes he has done should not done in the future. So this is the way how you have to train the child.
Somebody had told me about a French author who said that if you love your child, send him on a journey. Journey means, it's quite obvious, that parents are quite anxious, will naturally be anxious when a child is going on a journey, on a long journey, and unawares to a different place. But essentially they say that if you love your child, send him on the journey, because when he will go through hardships or difficulties, through the journey, he will learn about, certain important lessons of life, and growth as a human being will take place. So, madam, could you please suggest 3 practical ways, where as parents at home, can really guide and nurture the child in such a manner that he can grow up to become an adult, completely equipped to deal with the adult world and be a good human being?
See, Varsha, actually, the first thing is a development of a child. Both fathers and mothers' role very, very important. It's not only mother, even the father also. I'll tell you the common mistake what the fathers or mothers or any any of the parents. First thing is actually they always do the comparison. This is a thing which it is not at all advisable, So they compare with the celebrities, they compare with the other public figure or the sportsman or even the siblings, So each and every individual is very, very different. Each and every inborn, they will be having innovative ideas and innovative talents. Each and every child is having. That the parents should understand. Varsha, and then secondly, the other thing what I am saying is, a superior quality mother always reach out a child and try to inbuild, the strength and the ability, honesty, truth and justice, how to make the equality, they find out their rights and everything. I tell you one thing, like today if I am a good businesswoman, entrepreneur, or being in education or anything, it's because of my mother. Even I am a mother, I am a child for my mother, the second child. So my elder one and then myself, we are the 2 children for my mother. So naturally, like how all other siblings, they fight for a cake or the food or the any dresses or the cosmetics, whatever we bring it. We used to fight. So, but being my mother, she was the one who got the justice for us, and then she proved, like ensured that there should be an equality between the siblings or anyone else. So these are the things like what my mother taught me: honesty, truth, and she made me help me to become a good human being. And then about this scientist, our great scientist Newton. You must be aware of him. He was a child like who has scored just 6 marks in the physics. Do you believe this, Varsha? Can you believe this? A great scientist scored just 6 marks, and he was actually removed from the school. But a great mother, she never lost her hopes, and she made him, the confidence level. She developed the confidence level in the child, and she appointed the tutors at home, and she was giving the home tuitions, and then she made the child to challenge their life. And today, if you are having a scientist, a great scientist like Newton, it's because of that super mother. Pavasha, one more story I'll tell you, the other one more great example. I think you must be aware of, heard about Charlie Chaplin, our great comedian. When he was small, his mother was a singer, and there was a music concert. She was singing a music songs or something on the stage. So all of a sudden, actually, her voice got disappeared. And being a son, he was watching everything in front of mother, and then suddenly he came on the stage, and then to cover up his mother's whatever the problem was there. So he started making some mimicry, and then the jokes, and then he made all the audience very happy, and then the joy, and then all the parents, like whatever the audience were watching over there, so they clapped hands, and then they were applauded. This is a way like how Chaplin mother, she made him to develop all this, and then art of observing the people, then how to give joy and how to give happiness, and then he developed all these characters. And Charlie Chaplin, he has stated often, in newspapers and the media, that his mother was the great support, and who raised up, who made him to rise up from an ordinary comedian to a great artist who can challenge dictatorship and as well as the rule of Hitler through his medium of art.
Mothers, they say that mother is such a kind word that there is no such thing like we can talk about a good mother or a bad mother. But essentially we have seen that in homes, mothers are so irresponsible, they are so careless, that even when a child comes home, they are busy watching television or just shouting and giving orders to the children, but not making any effort to change themselves or to really behave and nurture the child in a responsible manner. So what do you think mothers should do in order to bring about effective parenting at home? And also I feel fathers, they should not make themselves so busy and use their work as an excuse and completely disown themselves or completely discharge themselves of the responsibilities of bringing up children.
Yeah, and this is now we have said about only mothers, but the equal role, even the father also plays equal role in the developing a child or anything. So I've seen like fathers, many fathers, they say like very busy, the whole day they'll be working out, and then they never get time to sit with their own children. So that's very wrong. You have to sit with them as a friend, discuss with them whatever happening, and then the day-to-day basis, whatever the activities he has done. So you just make him understand the the life challenges, and then make him give examples of the national leaders or any other celebrities or successes, about the failures also. And whenever you're watching TV with the family members and other things, like I've seen like suddenly if the beauties, the nudity, this kind of programs, if it is on, so the parents suddenly they will divert the channel. That's very wrong. You have to make them understand what exactly it is, aesthetics of beauty. You make him understand, so he will never do the mistakes in his life. This is also very important.
How about Suvarna, delinquent children? Adolescent who get completely, on the wrong track, misled by friends, drugs, and get into jail. I feel very sad, that. When a 17-year-old child is put in a jail due to murder or delinquency or erratic behavior, and he comes out of the jail as a man of 50 years, it's a really a sad thing, because I feel that we as an educational system are also equally responsible. So what do you feel, that how can you think that delinquency and bad behavior of children can be controlled, so that children don't land up doing landing up behind bars? I know of a story of experience of a father in America whose only son was shot by delinquent children, in the neighborhood. So he was so filled with anger and depression, and he wanted to take revenge. So he kind of went helter skelter, calling up the police and trying to reprimand the children and put them behind bars. But when he did a little bit of soul searching, he found that he was not going to create any value by putting the children into behind the bars, or punishing them or executing them. So he started really transforming himself, and really kind of asked his own God that what he should do in order to prevent such delinquency. And he came up with such wonderful solution of value creation, whereby he kind of really made sure that those children in the neighborhood who were delinquent, who were on drugs and using arms, and kind of really spoiled and into groups, and kind of ragging each other because of bullying, and so he kind of reformed them. He formed committees with the community people over there. He formed small groups and approached the parents, did counseling with them, and really made efforts. He devoted, in fact, all his life. He lived up to the age of 90, so he devoted almost like 30 years in really working towards bringing up children and reforming them, and really working for the happiness of his community.
Vasha, I'll tell you one incident, when you are questioning about delinquency. I remember one incident which has happened in my school. So one of the couples, actually, they migrated from other country to our India, Mumbai, and then they taken admission of one of the child, that elder child. So we observed, my teachers have observed, and the child was very arrogant, and then he used to hit all the children, even the teachers, even the teachers also. So then we noticed this, identified some problem is going on with this child. Then we called the parents, and then the father was not there, the mother came alone, and then she narrated the story, what exactly the behind the story, why the child is behaving in this way. That's because of father. That is because of the father, his attitude, that is affected a lot in child's mind. So in such cases, actually, sometimes maybe due to some depression, the frustration, or the fear, or the hereditary also, or by seeing the parents, father and mothers, if they are fighting with each other, this arrogancy actually always develops in a small child. So such conditions, in such cases, it is really very much required to approach a child psychologist or a counselor, anybody, to undergo for therapy, and somehow you have to find the solution for it. So you should not neglect it. It's not like that only the mad people go to the doctors. It is even the child or anybody is very much required when you are not able to balance your emotions.
Suvarna, why do you think children who are so afraid of facing their own selves, or facing their own fears, like for example fear of examination, or setback or failure due to a failed love affair, or perhaps getting scolded by teacher, they are so disappointed and dejected that they land up committing suicide, which I feel is a very big tragic loss. Why is it that nowadays children commit suicide? I read in a recent newspaper that a girl, she was just sitting and watching television, and she was so happy and everything was going great with her, but just for the thrill of experiencing suicide and the wrong view of life, she just kind of committed suicide. So could you really highlight as to what should be done so that children do not commit such blunder?
Vasha, I tell you about this committing suicide by the children, so or the teenagers or anyone. See, the World Health Organization has done the survey, in that out of 60% of children or the teenagers or the lots of they are committing suicide in all over the world, all over the world. In that, 30% is India. In India and China it is happening. Why? Why it's happening? Again, I can say I can blame the parents are the main reason. They are the main causes for these things. Because they are not able to understand what the happening in their child's mind. The child must be disappointed, might have got frustrated or depressed, or even they must have not got any good friends. Even the parents don't have time to sit with their children, so they didn't find anybody. There is no good proper guidance for the children. So these are the reasons actually they try to, sometimes actually even though to threaten their parents, or to have a thrill of suicide by seeing the media, the pictures, then the WhatsApp, then you can see the advanced technology, what is there, even the action movies, whatever. So they try to do that, they try to copy that. So here the lack of guidance, proper guidance is not given, and again I can blame the parents. So you should identify them in the initial stage itself. Please, if there is any changes in your child, so see that it has to be eradicated at the earliest. See, in this actually I can say like how to come out with these problems, the schools and then the educational institutions and the parents, they have to sit together and then they work out, they have to have the plans and they have to have the solutions, like how you said about the Jack who is honest, and then so that is an example what you are given. As you said, they have to help them to build up the strength of character, the wisdom, then the self-reliance, courage and compassion.
Madam, also that we have seen in our educational system and in our country especially, that there is a lot of corruption in the educational system itself. The coaching classes, tuition classes are constantly exploiting parents, and teachers are kind of really forcing children to get into tuitions or attend coaching classes, and children are kind of helpless, so they just run to coaching classes. And sometimes we have also seen that donations, that in the name of donation, parents are kind of forced to really sell their properties or jewelry, and make sure that children get into schools, prestigious colleges, so that the future of their children is kind of taken care of. So what can you say about such a a racket, which I would say is corrupting the entire educational system?
Asha, it's really sorry to say that in our education system, start from the beginning, like coaching classes or the schools or the universities, everywhere, wherever you take it, the corruption is too much, So it's just like a racket. I've heard like one of the newspaper in the media, like one coaching center, they were exploiting parents and the children like anything, and they were manipulating, and they were having a tie-up with, I heard like having a tie-up with the education higher authorities, and then they were leaking out, the question papers before the examinations, so all these things happen. So this is the one where we have to take proper measures to eradicate and then come out with a solution, proper solution. Then you have to educate the parents also not to approach these kind of coaching centers or any other, so where the corruption is going on. So you educate your children in a proper way, and then give the proper strong education, and then approach the right institution.
So Suvarna madam, there are about many parents and teachers who are watching us, watching SARA, that is the topic Glass Children Worldwide. So what is that final advice that you would like to give to our viewers?
Vasha, I advise all the parents worldwide who are watching this SARA, to overcome this vanity and superficiality of chasing schools and colleges and giving heavy donations and pushing their children to doctors, lucrative professionals, even though if they are not capable of fulfilling their duties and responsibilities, even if they are not talented, and they are pushing, and then possibly and indirectly they are helping their children to become criminals. And the second advice, actually, I give it to all the mothers and parents and fathers who are all watching this Sarah worldwide, not to nurture the child like glass pieces, So they should not pamper the children. They have to make the child very strong, and then a good citizen. They have to give a good contribution to the society by bringing the child most powerful.
June is a month of fresh departure, whereby schools, colleges and universities reopen in India. Let us all pledge, pray and work together towards creating a system, a safe educational system, happy and harmonious family, whereby children are not misled or end up as a tragic failure. Let's really work towards our children, our future, so that they can generate as good contributors and work towards fulfilling lives and creating happy homes and contribute to their society, community and the nation, of which we can all be very proud and salute them.
She wakes up like the morning sun. It's time to go, it's time to run. Sarah gives courage, Sarah gives joy. Together we'll learn to create a century of life and blessed lives of victory.